Hey everybody, and welcome to Fit Griller. Have you ever wondered how you could spend more time with your guests but then also get that great grilled flavor? It's all about the Bubba Vide. It's all heats and eats, so come on in. Let's dive down into the details on this Bubba Vide technique. You know, starting with great meat always helps. Finishing on a terrific grill like the Monolith Grill we'll use today is always going to be beneficial. It's a ceramic style grill. We're actually going to add the grill marks and that great grilled flavor right at the end. But really all the cooking is going to take place right here in this styrofoam cooler. We just got it from the corner market, and with the steak we're going to prepare it, season it, put it in a zip bag, and then lower it into the water and let the heat from the water do the work. Let's trim this steak up and show you what we mean. Oh my goodness. If you will look at that. Now that is a gorgeous steak. With the steak itself, you'll see a lot of marbling we talk about, but I'm going to trim this steak up a little bit. It's got a little external fat on the outside. Any trimmings that I do, I save for burger or anything that I may do chili or something along those lines down the road. Now a lot of these tricks and techniques are going to be used like what we do in competition cooking, and I actually will twine this steak and wrap it so that it keeps a great form and will show well to whoever eats it, because everybody's really a judge, aren't they? So I've trimmed up this beautiful ribeye. It is absolutely taking shape. What I want to do is wrap a little twine around it. So I'm going to take off a good bit, wrap that twine around, and you'll notice in my knot, I'm going to roll it a couple different times. Get that little butcher's knot. Make sure it's down in the middle of the steak, and you will see that that steak starts to take shape. Now we eat with our eyes first before we dig in. So we want to make sure and make it appealing, and that is going to be a gorgeous steak. Seasoning a steak is always going to have salt and pepper. Everything needs salt and pepper. I use Himalayan pink salt because it's got 80+ nutrients and minerals in it beyond what normal salt has. Feel free to use the salt of your choice. I use a 5 pepper blend of 5 different peppercorns that are blended up and made into a fine powder. I like to keep it very fine for texture. I don't want a big kernel so that somebody bites in and gets a hot pepper kernel. Now I have a World Championship steak rub. Your own flavor profile that you enjoy, feel free to grab some of that, put it on liberally. This is going to be taken through the meat during the cooking process, because all that liquid that's going to come out of that steak is actually going to go back in and through and all around because of the way that we're cooking in the Bubba Vide. Steak is seasoned on both sides. I'm going to go into the zip bag, open it up, and get ready, because I'm going to put this in there, and you'll see I'm using quite a large zip bag. You can use one of different size, it doesn't matter. I just like to use the gallon size personally for a steak to give it plenty of room for me to fit it in there, not knock everything off. I want to go all the way down into the corner, but how in the world am I going to get all this air out? Well, it's pretty simple. When we open this cooler, it's got hot water in it. I ran the tap and it's about 126 degrees. Well, it's a little higher than my ending temperature on my steak, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to end up at 120. Reason I've got it a little hotter in the water, the cold steak's going to cool it down. I'm going to take that lid off. You don't need a vacuum sealer. You don't need anything like that. You're going to lower down the steak into the water. It will naturally squeeze the air out. It's going to seal that plastic up right to the edge of the steak. I'm lowering it right down to the edge of the water, and I will seal off that zip bag, and that is going to keep all those juices tight to that steak and be wonderful as far as the in flavor. It doesn't have a lot of room to move around in there, keeping all of that seasoning going into the meat. I'm going to put this top back on, do a little cleanup, but I'm letting this steak sit. I will check it in about an hour, see if the water temperature has dropped below the 120. because I need it all to even out, the water and the steak, to be 120 degrees. And then we're going to go to the grill. So after the first hour, I'll check the temperature, and if it needs more hot water, I'll add some. If it's doing well, I'll wait until we're about 2 hours into this and ready to put it on the grill. Water balances out to be 120 degrees ending temperature. That's our goal. I've already temped the steak. I'm going to take it back out of the water and we will get to going here. Oh my goodness. This steak is going to be gorgeous. It feels ultra tender. Now, it's going to actually cook evenly all the way through because of the technique that we're using with the Bubba Vide. So don't be fooled when you get the grill marks on the outside from the Monolith Grill. We're actually going to get that great grill mark and that great grill flavor, but the coloring will be different. It'll be consistent all the way through. I'm going to simply take it out. Now this steak, when you take it out of the bag, make sure and glove up. It is going to be hot. The liquids in there will be warm too. And you can see it. It's actually bending over my fingers. It's so tender and done so well. Gorgeous shape. That banding with the cord around it, we put that twine around so it kept its shape during the cooking process. The color on this, you've got the coloring from the rub, and that World Champion rub had a little paprika in it, a little chili, and some other ingredients as well that would add that beautiful color. One thing I am going to do is put a crust of the gods, and this is actually a competition secret. It's a fantastic way to get a crust. You want a salty, sort of saline environment, but also an alkaline environment. And that gets all scientific. We've got a little salt here. I'm going to re-season it with a little bit of salt. Not too moist on that side of the steak, but I am going to pat it dry right there, because the drier it is, we will get some of the rub off, but it's already penetrated the meat. The idea is to have a dry saline environment or dry alkaline environment, and that will create a better grill mark. We'll put that right down here. You know, salt, pepper, we had the World Championship rub, but I also have a little white powder here. It's got 3 things in it that make an alkaline environment, and then it's got some cornstarch. This is just straight from the grocery store. It is baking powder, and it's very silky, very light, but you'll just coat it over a little bit, dust it, and you'll see it gets a little bit white on there, but we're going to pat it in there. And it will actually give you a wonderful crust because of the alkaline environment and that cornstarch that's right there. I'm going to put this on the Monolith Grill. I've already preheated the grill, and we are going to go up to a nice searing temperature. So we've actually taken it off the Monolith Grill. I put the diffuser plates in there, look a lot like pizza stones, so that we get a great crispy crust on there, not necessarily focused on the grill marks. Gorgeous color, gorgeous steak. I'm gonna take the twine off because we don't want to serve that. The sun's setting, it's a perfect time of day. Now let's cut it up and see what it looks like. Yeah. Just the feel of my knife going through.